Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, I've been vindicated. That is right. The Swaggle franchise has been redeemed from its terrible first round draft choice of a big book, where our scouts, we kind of overlooked, we overlooked the scouting report. We didn't dig into the character qualities of this particular book, and we ended up with a bust. But in this video, I'm going to tell you guys why I was redeemed and also tell you guys why I think everyone who is a comic book collector needs to be in these social media circles. But before I get into the video and why I was redeemed, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, helps support the channel, doing those things, I would appreciate it. But let us get into this video here today. And of course, if you guys remember, I had a video with one of those, glorious thumbnails where I have my hand, over my face, something like this. And I said, I messed up. And one of the reasons why I messed up is because this book right here, which of course is Avengers 8, First Appearance of Kang the Conqueror, is a big book that I made a purchase for myself. And I made a cardinal sin, which was I did not count the pages when I ended up getting my book. And when I was going to, grade some books, I ended up, going through this one again with a fine-tooth comb. And I realized that this book right here was actually qualified. It was missing an ad page. And, my heart totally sunk. I messed up. I messed up big time. And I made that video to express to you guys, don't make the same mistake I did. Make sure that you always count your pages. Well, it was eating at me. I don't know if you guys have noticed, usually this book sits on the wall behind me, like right around there or so. And, every time I look at it, it just started to bother me. Now, I don't really have too big of a problem with picking up qualified or restored books, but, I want to know that I bought that. Like, I felt like I got swindled or cheated. So it was really bothering me. And I was sort of getting like that FOMO, conjuring up again. I'm starting to think like maybe Kang the Conqueror might show up in Multiverse of Madness. There's some rumors about that he might be a post-credit scene. So I started looking for another Kang the Conqueror book. But as I'm sure you guys are well aware, this book is already pretty pricey, and knowing that I had already sort of bought it once and now I have to buy it again, that felt so bad to me. So I started looking around eBay and looking for potential books that I could buy, but nothing was really looking like a good viable option until one day I noticed a new listing on eBay, and it was being priced at what was a pretty competitive price overall. It was sitting around the $650 level, and I had to buy it now with a best offer. And one of the things that I noticed is that the actual seller's name looked very familiar to me. And I realized like, hey, I actually think this seller might be on Instagram as well. So I navigated over to Instagram. I did some Instagram stalking detective work, and I was able to come across this person's profile and flash forward to the end of the story. But yes, in fact, I actually redeemed myself and bought this Kang the Conqueror book. And now I have a blue label version of my Avengers 8. And this is kind of where I want to sort of transition to the next part of the video, which is why I feel like, it's really important to be on social media as a comic book collector. Because if you're only shopping on eBay, you're always going to be subject to those market prices. Now, don't get me wrong. I think eBay is actually a great place to look for books. But one thing that I've really been noticing is that, people who are selling their books are on many different platforms looking to push their books out. Like the same sellers who are on eBay also are people who are selling on Whatnot, also are people who are doing Instagram live sales, also are people who are in Facebook groups just pushing out their book. And what I've noticed time and time again is that the eBay price is always the highest one for a certain book, because obviously eBay takes, a premium on those fees. And then the prices for those similar books or those same books, on things like Facebook groups or myslabs.com or, Instagram plain sales are often a little bit lower. And in this particular instance, knowing that he had it as a best offer, to me, that was an indication that it's like, okay, he's willing to take less. And also like he's already going to be getting hit with those eBay fees. So maybe this person wants to make a deal or a better cash deal on a different sort of platform. So as I was talking to him on Instagram, we were getting to talking, we sort of like negotiated a price, and it actually ended up being that, he lived in the Southern California area. So I did a thing that I would never suggest to you guys. and that's to meet a total stranger with cash in hand to buy a comic book. So I actually ended up meeting the guy at Starbucks. Super cool guy. He's got a great collection. We talked comics for a long time, and then I told him about my channel and how I would make a video and all this stuff about it. So shout out to him. I won't actually use his name because I didn't ask for permission to do so, but we ended up having a great conversation and talking comic books, and I ended up getting this book in hand with cash for $480, which in the grand scheme of things is still a pretty pricey purchase. I still get to win out overall because I didn't have to pay that eBay price, which also would have charged me like the tax price and also would have charged me, the PayPal fees and all of those things. And then he gets to win out too because he gets a pure cash price, which, like in my instance, he also doesn't have to pay like the eBay fees and all that stuff. So he gets to walk away with, the cash that he wants for the book, being that, he probably bought this thing like so long ago. So he's so far in the green that it doesn't really matter. But this is one of the reasons why I think it's so important to be on these other platforms, because you can make these better, more competitive deals. A pricey book, 100% for sure, but the Swaggle franchise feels so redeemed with this character. And my FOMO radar has really dropped down a lot because I was very fearful that we were going to maybe be getting Kang the Conqueror very soon. And this is a character that I actually personally really like. It was like, this is why I actually had this book, the other one, the qualified one, many years ago, because I genuinely like this character. And I really do believe in this book. I really do think like now is probably, a really good time to buy it if you are someone who wants this book, because I feel like if Kang ends up being, sort of a next Thanos type level villain, I really do think that this book is, at a pretty decent buying opportunity. And one of the things I wanted to do was kind of point to another video I actually made here on the channel. I don't know if you guys already saw this video, but I did a very detailed breakdown of the Kang the Conqueror book. And one of the things that I wanted to re-emphasize is because, I don't know if everybody really watched the entire length of the video, but I really did feel like at the 3.0 grade, there's a lot of opportunity for this book, which usually at the low grade, there isn't as much opportunity because that's usually where, there's more buyers, there's more competition. But I picked up this book, and mine probably would grade out at like a 3, maybe a 3.5 with a clean and press or whatever. But when I compared this book to, others that are, in its ilk, I feel like there's a lot of room for this book. I was able to get mine at the $500 price point. I feel like the fair market value for this thing right now is around $700, and that makes me feel confident when I look at some of the other books that are in comparison to that. I like that it's lower than FF49. I like that it is lower than X-Men 12, a book that I feel like it could eventually surpass in the future. And then one of the other things I talked about in this video was like I did an analysis of the journey of the Thanos book. And, we won't go too much into the weeds. I'll link to this video if you guys want to see it. But my general takeaway was that if for Kang the Conqueror, we're at the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 territory, meaning like we've seen Kang the Conqueror in one scene in Loki, kind of like how we saw Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 with one scene. And basically in looking at the numbers and the journey of that book, the prices of where the Thanos book was in 2014 when we got him in one single scene never dropped below that, meaning we've had spikes, we had peaks and valleys for the book, all throughout its lifespan. You can see the graph right there, up and down, up and down, up and down. But once we got Thanos in that one first scene, like the new ceiling for that book, or the new floor, was established, and it never dipped below that. Even after, we got Infinity War and Endgame, even during those times in 2020 when all the books were really nosediving, it never dropped below its original Guardians of the Galaxy 1 price. And using that logic, if we are at that point where we are at the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 for Kang, meaning we've seen him one time in one scene, and we can assume that he's going to show up in a couple more movies, I feel pretty confident that this book is right at its, floor, and I'll probably never lose out too much on my investment overall. So I'm super happy. Avengers number 8, I feel totally redeemed. Now I got this extra qualified copy, so I'll probably move on with this and then offset some of the costs I got for this one. So anyways, that's all I have for this video. That was me just sort of sharing you guys my new Avengers 8 pickup. I definitely think, get out there, join social media if you are a comic book collector, because you will really notice that there's a lot of people who are selling the same books on eBay in these other platforms, and they'll be able to offer you better deals overall. Anyways, that's all I got. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Tonight I'm going to be doing a live stream with the comic book Illuminati. Definitely tune in for that if you can, 6 p.m. on the channel.